Hi, and thanks for coming back to Comic Book Lounge. We're taking a look at Web of Venom issue 1. The cover is a homage to Web of Spider-Man #1 from 1985, where Spider-Man had the black symbiote costume. Just to let you know, this comic slightly ties into the Death of Spiral storyline, since they mentioned the death of Shocker, but it's standing on its own as a one-shot. With that, let's jump right in and see for ourselves if this is a good, interesting comic. We see a bulking-looking Spider-Man in a high-tech warehouse sitting on a beam. We don't know who this really is yet as we hear them talking. We should probably go over the plan one more time. I think you're stalling at this point, but sure, go for it. Sorry, it's just this is my first time. I've been possessed by an alien parasite and used its powers to pull off a rescue mission. Symbiote, but understandable. Go ahead, repeat the plan. I web swing down, strike a cool pose, convince the guards I'm Spider-Man, and find out where they're holding my friends. And if they don't believe you're Spider-Man, well, then we'll try it the other way as we see him swinging down. We see them land as the bulkier Spider-Man says, "Hey fellas, you're in neighborhood Spider-Man, thwip?" The guards look at each other as one of them says, "I don't think he says thwip." "Oh, whatever. The Avengers who I work with asked me to transfer one of the prisoners. Can you point me to the holding cells?" The other guard, "Spidey, did you get bigger or something?" "Oh, yeah. People on the internet are calling me thick, which is absolutely a compliment." I'm going to have to call this in as we hear this symbiote say, "So the other way?" "Yeah, I guess. Sorry, fellas. I didn't want it to go down like this," as he knocks out both the guards. The alarms are triggered and more guards show up as he starts using the symbiote to knock down more and more of them, as we see them all surround the bulkier Spider-Man as he says, "Well, I've tried a lot of new stuff, but it's time to play the hits," as it looks like he pops out his Wolverine claws. But we see they weren't claws at all. They're boomerangs as he yells, "Venorangs," as he's able to knock out all the guards in one shot. The symbiote Spider-Man jumps back into the catwalks as he says, "That's all the guards. Let's get a lay of the land," as we find out who he really is, Fred Myers, aka Boomerang, as he says, "I can't believe this is happening to me. The world's greatest, only disgraced major league pitcher turned supervillain, turned anti-hero, turned dead guy, turned alive again. So how did I get into this mess?" The symbiote says, "Fred, we absolutely do not have time for you to remember how you got into this mess," as he says, "Hey, I'm entering some strange new territory here. I need to process this stuff." The symbiote, "Okay, whatever, make it quick." Here, Boomerang flashbacks to his past as he narrates. We start at the bar with no name, the bar for Marvel villains. Everything changed when my friend Herman Schultz, aka the Shocker, met a cruel and untimely end. We see Boomerang and the other villains toast to him. He wanted to use cool gadgets, maybe kill Spider-Man, and never work a straight job again. But like so many of us, our kind tend to end up cannon fodder in the great ongoing battle between superheroes, supervillains, gods, monsters, billionaires, and mutants. But alas, we get caught in the crossfire, pawns in the battle we had no business being anywhere near. Heck, even I was killed by a vampire and brought back to life, which is an insane thing to happen to anyone, let alone a former baseball player who wears a boomerang on his head. Herman was the one who brought me back to life, but I had no way to return the favor. I made a pledge to myself that things were going to change. I mean, I wasn't going to give up a life of crime. That would be stupid. I'm great at crime. But I promised myself I'd focus on the small street-level crimes I excelled at. No more stealing magical tablets or heads in jars. I leave that stuff to the big boys. I'm a medium boy and should stick to medium boy crimes, like shoplifting packs of nerd cards that might have foil variants in them. I moved out of the city to a nice little townhouse on Staten Island. It came pre-furnished and decorated, but it seemed fitting considering the new phase of life I was entering. I left all the decorations up as a reminder of who I wanted to be. For a minute, I felt like I had it all figured out. Every time I saw something even remotely super, I turned and walked the other way. The toughest part was resisting the urge to return my old watering hole. I was definitely done with team-ups. I had been a member of Sinister Syndicate, the Masters of Evil, the Sinister Six when there was only 5 of us, and probably a few others I'm forgetting. This time, I was just criming for myself. I found a new bar on my block. It was less exciting than my old haunt, but it had a good company and B- mozzarella sticks. Boomerang comes home as he sees James Beverly, aka Overdrive, sitting there as he says, "Hey Fred, long time no see. Your new place is great." So I came across an opportunity as Boomerang cuts him off and says, "Yeah, I figured, James. I'm trying not to. Just hear me out. It's Tombstone." Exactly. The kind of character I don't want to associate with anymore. But he's giving guys like us enhanced powers. Guys who are lower on the food chain, he's enhancing them with alien tech and radioactive slime and magic balls, orbs, stuff like that. Oh God, this sounds like something that leads to me getting killed again by something worse than a vampire, like a creature from the Black Lagoon or something. And I'm sorry, but I'm not dying again. Overdrive. What happened to Herman could happen to any of us. Heck, it did happen to you. I'm not going straight anytime soon, and neither are you. But the world is changing. Things are getting crazier and more dangerous. And if we don't keep up, we're done for. Boomerang looks at him and says, "Crap, you're going to do this whether I sign on or not, aren't you?" Overdrive, "Yep. I know you said you weren't getting one, but if you change your mind and want to get enhanced while we're here, nope, not doing it. I'm only here to make sure you don't get killed. And then I'm heading back to the condo to binge the new season of the Greatest British Boil-Off." Mr. Dobson opens the door and says, "Dudes, get your haven't been enhanced yet butts in here. Let's start with you, my man, Overdrive. So the nanites you use to control tech are tied to your body, right? Well, what if we could control them remotely?" Boomerang says, "Should you be doing surgery? I can smell tequila on your breath, Dr. D." Dobson, "Geez, uptight much? I graft better when I've had a few. I'll only be a couple minutes. There's no magazines out here, but feel free to flip through my copy of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance." Boomerang's looking at a head in the jar named Passenger as we hear, "Freeze! Nobody move! Aberrant Crime Division. This illegal enhancement operation ends now. Down on the ground." As we see Boomerang back up, grab something off the shelf as he says, "This will do," and he flings it and hits a guard in the head. The other guards shoot him and knock him back against the shelf. As the jar gets knocked off and breaks, we see a living symbiote attaching itself to Boomerang. We cut to the guards walking toward Boomerang with their guns drawn. The symbiote has melded with Boomerang, stands up and surprises the guard, and takes the opportunity to escape. As later, Boomerang finally wakes up and sees the symbiote staring at him as it says, "Oh good, you're up." Boomerang, "Well, F me," as he narrates, "I tried to keep things normal, I really did, but here I was the host to an alien parasite that gave me unimaginable powers. Exactly the kind of sci-fi nonsense I swore off." Now we cut to the origin story of the symbiote named Passenger. He arrived on Earth in 1816 and was immediately captured, labeled Passenger, and placed in a jar. For over 200 years, he was treated as an object of study or a curiosity passed between super science labs, government facilities, and even ending up on the shelf of a flea market. He was not truly isolated, though. It remained connected to the symbiote hive mind, forced to watch the chaotic and amazing exploits of his fellow symbiotes from its prison, as we find out that Boomerang was the first person to ever free him from the 2-century-long confinement. A stern Boomerang says, "I'm sorry, but I will not be your host. We're finding a science guy ASAP and getting you out of me." Passenger, "Come on, man. All they're going to do is imprison me again. Let's go on an adventure. Let's do some crime or stop crime or whatever. I've seen in your head and you've been up to some weird, wild stuff." Boomerang, "Yeah, but I'm trying to change all that. I know you've run across my kind before and you know what we're capable of. Plus, I can give you a cooler outfit. I mean, you had some bad outfits over the years. What were those dots about? It looked like you were covered in red skin tags." Boomerang, "Hey, that's a classic costume. It has a lot of fans." Boomerang, "I'll admit, I wear this pretty well. There was a time when all this power was all I ever wanted. So why not try it out? At least use it to save your friend." "What? What are you talking about?" Overdrive, that sweet little gearhead, the guys who raided the surgeon's office grabbed him. I took the liberty of grabbing the key card off one of them We can use one of our many shady contacts to find the door that this opens. Hear me out. Let's save your buddy. If you like working together, we can talk about extending the partnership. If we get the job done and you want to go back to normal, run-of-the-mill street crime, I can find another host. Boomerang. Well, okay, maybe. Boomerang continues. But I still don't know how to work these tentacles. Is there a way to stealth this mission? Passenger. Let's go red and blue and see if that makes things easier for us as we see the symbiote replicate the Spider-Man costume. Boomerang looks more muscular than Spider-Man is. He says, honestly, I've always wanted to see how I would look in the suit. Passenger, have you reminisced enough? As we cut back to the present, seeing them swinging down from the rafters and come upon the cell, we hear Overdrive speaking. I can't believe it. We all get these sweet enhanced powers and immediately get thrown in the power restricting cell. Boomerang says, hey gang, how do you feel about getting the hell out of here? One of the characters in the cell, who the hell are you? He responds, would you believe Spider-Man? They respond, no. Okay, call me Comeback. As we see Hawkeye come upon them as he says, hey there, not Spidey. Hawkeye, they call in an Avenger for this? He responds, something tells me your symbiote and the sonic arrow would really ruin your day. Is that one of our weaknesses? Hawkeye, yes it is. As he shoots the arrow, Comeback falls on the floor in pain as the symbiote reacts to the sound. Hawkeye, it's dialed to a frequency that won't hurt me or other humans in this room. It's special just for you. Overdrive screams, hey, I can finally use my enhancements. Come back. Nanobots are on their way as he uses his nanobots to block out the sound around Comeback. He yells, thanks for the assist. You got some fast hands, Hawkeye, but that's kind of my thing too. Symbiote's talking to Boomerang. Out of the jar for a day and already I'm fighting an Avenger? This is great. And he, based on the chemicals coming from his hippocampus, it seems like you're having a good time too. As Tombstone walks in with his own security screaming, hands off my property. I'm glad we stick trackers on everyone we enhance. Hawkeye, those freaks you're beating up belong to me. Kindly stop getting beat up by them so I can take them back. Comeback yells, we don't belong to you, Tombstone. We don't belong to anyone. We are our own freaks. Comeback continues, for too long, guys like you use guys like us like tissues. Well, now we have the power and we're not going to jump in front of your bullets anymore. We can work with you as equals, but we're not your property. Tombstone, where do this rah-rah union come from? I gave you those upgrades and now I'm taking them back, even if I have to tear you apart to do it. Hawkeye yells, hey, Shredded Spidey or Paint by Numbers Venom or whoever you are, truce until we take out Tombstone? Combat responds, yeah, let's do that. Freaks assemble. The symbiote starts talking to Boomerang and says, I have a pitch for you. Is this really the best time? You can multitask. You're in a flow state. Okay, shoot. Keep me around after we get out of this. We can do some good and have some fun. You can still do your small-time heists, but when something big comes up like it always does, you'll have me. Boomerang, I do like the idea of being able to protect my friends. Someone needs to stand up for the henchmen, the goons, and the downtrodden lackeys. The symbiote, yes! And maybe we could, do a space adventure sometime? Boomerang, that's out of the question. Tombstone stares at him and says, who the hell are you talking to, you freak? Symbiote, still talking to Boomerang, says, okay, no space. Partners? Boomerang, yeah, let's give it a shot, partners, for now, as they both punch Tombstone in the face. Tombstone yelling, get me out of here. I'll have my doc expand the pouch of yours. Heck, I bet he could even add a couple of new pouches. Okay, big boy. I'm going to go after Tombstone. I realize you will probably use this opportunity to escape. Please don't make me wish I went after you instead. As we see Comeback say, seems like everything is handled here. Should we escape into the night? Boomerang, yeah, let's do this. As we see Comeback swing out the window, Overdrive yells, thanks for everything, Comeback, whoever you are. And now cut to a city rooftop where Boomerang and the symbiote passenger are talking. Boomerang, I'm in for this partnership, but we need to lay low for a while. Passenger, we're on the radars of the Baron Crime Division, Tombstone, and probably the Avengers. That's more radars than I'm comfortable with. Boomerang, of course, let's keep it low key while things cool down. I'm definitely down to keep the color scheme. It adds an air of respectability to our operation. Couldn't agree with it more, as we hear someone in the background scream, Fred Myers, as we see it's Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, appearing here in her role as the Sorceress Supreme, as she says, "You're in possession of the symbiote known as Passenger. You're coming with us immediately by the order of the Sorceress Supreme." Boomerang looks up and says, "Well, this sucks." And this concludes this issue. Thanks for hanging out with Comic Book Lounge. If you guys like this and want to see more, please leave me a comment or subscribe so I can grow this channel and feature more comics to create videos for. And I'll see you next time.